Let's talk about loading states in React. This presentation will guide you through implementing and understanding loading states in your React applications. We will cover what loading states are, why they're important, and how to implement them using React hooks and conditional rendering. Loading states are visual indicators that show users when data is being fetched or processed in the background. These indicators can be anything from a simple text message like loading to a more elaborate animation, such as a spinner. They let the user know that the application is working and that they need to wait a moment for the content to appear. Loading states are important for several reasons. First, they provide a better user experience or UX because users know something is happening. Second, they improve the perceived performance of your app, making it feel faster and more responsive. Third, they offer clear feedback, preventing user confusion. Finally, they give your application a more professional and polished feel. Here's how to implement a basic loading state using the useState hook in React. First, declare a state variable called loading and a function to update it. Set loading using useState. Initialize loading to false. Also, declare a data variable and a setData function, initializing data to null. Then create an asynchronous function called fetchData. Inside fetchData, first set loading to true. Use a try-catch finally block. Inside the try block, fetch the data from an API endpoint. After that, set the data state with the response from the API. Finally, set loading to false in the finally block. Next, conditionally render content based on the loading state. If loading is true, display a loading message. Otherwise, display the fetched data. In the return statement, use a ternary operator. If loading is true, render a loading message. Otherwise, render the data. To keep your code clean and reusable, create a separate loading component. This component can contain your spinner or any other loading indicator. First, create a component called spinner which returns a div with a class name spinner, and a div with a class name loading text which renders loading. Then, in the return statement of your main component, conditionally render the spinner component if loading is true. Otherwise, render the data component. To automatically fetch data when the component mounts, use the useEffect hook. This ensures that the data is fetched only once when the component is first rendered. Use the useEffect hook with an empty dependency array. Inside the useEffect hook, create an async function loadData. In the loadData function, set loading to true. Use a try-finally block. In the try block, fetch data from the API and set the data state with the response. In the finally block, set loading to false. Finally, call the loadData function. Here are some best practices to keep in mind when implementing loading states. Always use a finally block to set loading to false, ensuring it happens regardless of errors. Create custom, reusable loading components for consistency. Handle errors by showing error states alongside loading indicators. Add subtle animations to your loading indicators for a polished look. If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit CodeLucky.com for more such useful content.